this video we are looking at Buddy Holly by Weezer. Another classic by these guys. So mostly power chords is all we're really looking at here. But a lot of activity, a lot of shifting around, some quick shifts in the chorus, and some little devices or techniques that might be a good addition to your toolbox. So let's jump right into it. It jumps immediately into that verse, and we're just going to be on an F-sharp 5 chord. So you may have noticed in the opening, I was actually playing with my pinky, which I don't often do on a 2-string power chord. Usually I just use finger 3. The reason I'm doing that is because when we shift up to the A5 chord, we're going to need just a couple of G-sharp notes here. I'm playing this in standard tuning. I'm not dropped down a half step like they are. So if you are playing with the original audio, you have to drop down, but there is a pitch shifted version on YouTube. So that's going to allow me to get that stretch a little bit easier. I'm always looking for ways to make adjustments. There's 10, 15, 20 different ways to do everything on guitar. So if we just use one maneuver, at some point in time, it's probably not going to work depending on what we want to do, and it helps you just kind of explore your playing in different ways. So that's one thing that I'm changing here. Starting out with that F-sharp 5 chord. I'll turn that down a little bit. And right here, I'm going to shift up to fret 4 on string 6 and fret 7 on string 5, just for 2 strums. You'll hear that note. It clashes, but you'll hear that little bass line walk up. So it's basically 2 measures for F sharp and 2 measures for A5, but you have to time where that little bass note placement is. So it's going to be 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 2 and 3. So if you're not familiar with counting and feeling beats through counting, I recommend trying it out. You'll definitely take something away from it. It's going to be the harder path, of course, because it's something that you're not used to, but don't look at it that way. Just look at it as you're expanding your capabilities, right? Your ability to look at things in different ways, and that's certainly going to train your ear. You'll hear things so much more clearly just through a little bit of understanding of rhythm, honestly. Quarter notes and eighth notes. If that's all you can do, it'll give you a lot, I promise. Because I have students that kind of refuse to do that, and I try and put them in another direction, but then you're sitting here doing stuff like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Wait, where am I? So it seems more efficient because it's the more familiar territory, but counterintuitive. Doesn't really work that well with music. So anyways, again, that was... And you'll just start to hear it eventually. All downstrokes, just constant eighth notes. And then it jumps into the pre-chorus, which I was using 3-finger, 3-string power chords here. So I went to D5, 5, 7, 7. Full measure there, and then C sharp 5, down 1 half step. Just 2 strums and a little muted hit there, which is not totally necessary, but if you're not used to implementing things like that, could be a nice little addition. It's not going to add too much to the music, but you'll hear things like that in songs that you're trying to cover and learn from, and it will influence your playing. And then when you hear it in other tunes, it's like, oh, I know exactly how to do that. Little things like that can throw the ear off quite a bit. I don't know how prominent it is in the music here, but you'll hear that just little click quite often as people are transitioning, guitar players are transitioning between chords. And then it jumps to an F sharp 5 there. So that's string 6 fret 2, string 5 fret 4, and string 4 fret 4. And I don't know if I did it in the little playthrough at the beginning. I tend to throw some down up strums real quick in there. I don't know that they're doing that. It's just a momentum thing. And just feeling the energy, I guess. But so you do that twice, jump back into your D5 chord, and we're actually going to add the middle finger here on string 2 fret 6, so it's a full D minor chord. It's going to have this bite to it though, because it's just a note that I don't think we've encountered up to this point. Well, it's actually a note that is kind of grinding against that F sharp 5 because it's an F note. So you're just going to expand the number of strings that you're strumming on. So it just builds and builds and builds through 2 measures, I think. Yeah, and then here start building it up. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. So you're just getting more strings in the strum as you continue. That ends the pre-chorus, and then we get into the chorus, the longest section here. So here again, I'm going to use 3-string, 3-finger power chords. We're going to go, the only chords we're going to see are 4 chords: A5, D5, E5, and F sharp 5. So we've basically already seen all of those except for the E5. So we go A, D, and then E. I'm going to do that again. Jump down to an F sharp 5. And then quick little 2 strums on D, 2 strums on E, back to A. And then A, D, E. So that's playing at full speed. I mean, it's not super difficult, but you just got to be aware of where you're going, basically, because you've got 4 chords in there that only have 2 strums, so you're moving the hand constantly. Let me go through that much again. So A, D, E, repeat. Brings us to the end of the chorus. Here again, I'm going to jump to fingers 1 and 4 because we're going to get this little movement here, throwing that other bass note in again. So it's going to be, we're on an A5 chord. I think that's the only spot where we see any down up strumming, unless you're adding the stuff like I was talking about earlier, quick little down up strums, but here you actually hear it in the audio. Down, 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 up, down, up, down, down. So one thing that maybe you're not comfortable with yet, perhaps you are, but if you're not, muting with that index finger. That is something that you'll use a lot. You will find a ton of utility for it. And that's what I'm doing here. I'm just letting my index lay down on those strings, just making light contact. I'm only pressing the 6th string down, but I've got all that muted from that index finger. So if you're a player who finds yourself kind of arching that finger up, it's all psychological, right? It's like, oh, I can only put my finger on that string because otherwise I'm going to interfere. Interfere, right? It's not interfering. It's actually working in your favor. And you're still going to direct your pick to the strings that you want to hit. And maybe you want a thicker sound, you're going to hit those muted strings. But it's a nice safety net as well. And it's just something that you're going to use in just about all styles. You want to think about muting strings. It's going to make it easier to maneuver with the pick. The hands are going to communicate a lot better. And yeah, it's hard to put it in perspective how much you can actually use it. Thing that's coming to mind right now is a lot of blues playing. There's just so many techniques and sounds that implement that style of muting. So something to play around with. So again, that was whole chorus. Us to the bridge. I think we're just going to see one more power chord in here that we haven't seen yet, which is going to be a B5, but basically all the same movement. So we're going to start on an A5, and we're going to be alternating some open strings here. Okay, so let me play through it slowly, and then I'll walk us through it. At that point, okay, so A5, and then an open 6th string. I'm just going to lift my index finger, shift to an F sharp 5, open string again, and then F sharp 5, open string 5, B5, C sharp 5, B5, open A string, string 5, F sharp 5. So majority of what we're seeing or hearing is A, F sharp, B, and C sharp. And depending on what string set we're on, we're catching the lowest of those strings open, right? So A5, open string 6, F sharp 5, open string 6, F sharp 5, that's the first portion of the first half. F sharp 5, and then shifting up to strings 5 and 4, open string 5, B5, C sharp 5, B5, open string 5A, F sharp 5. That is pretty much it, guys. Like I said in the other Weezer one that I just did, Undone, if there's enough interest in the solo, then I can certainly tackle that for everybody. So, a couple little things to think about here. Quick power chord movement, mostly just down strumming, but maybe a little bit of odd movement here using fingers 1 and 4, stretching that index finger. Right, just using the independence of that index finger, full D minor chord, yeah, and just quick movement, but really just a good study in power chords for the most part. So, let me know if you have any questions. Have fun, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks.